All right, I have just driven down the M420 and now I am in Pioneer Bay in the Bass Coast Shire, interviewing a singer and a DJ.
That's fucking delicious. This is really good.
Thank you. Amaretto
I haven't had
whiskey
him in
sour.
so long. I haven't had him in ages. I used to have him
Oh my
all the time.
god, that's so good.
It's
Yeah,
refined from last night because I made
She's never
them.
had him.
Oh,
She's never had him.
really?
She's never had him. Yeah.
Well, excuse me.
We can thank Eve, who I forgot even taught me these cocktails.
It's what's it called? It's almond. No, it's an almond liqueur. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it is.
There's two brands. There's the Disaronno, which is the real fancy one, and then there's like one of the like Frangelico make one or something maybe.
Do they? Yeah.
Or
I
yeah.
used to drink them back when I was a bartender. Yeah, they're nice.
Oh my god, that is really good. You should be a bartender.
Oh, so Lickweed and Dayelle, I'm really excited to be catching up with you guys for the very first part of this series. I was glad it popped into my head at the last minute. I'm like, oh, this is absolutely perfect considering the journey I'm about to go on and both of your journeys in music. Where to start? Let's start where you two started because I can vaguely remember that period of time. We were talking about it earlier today.
When we met.
Yeah,
man. 2014, January 2014.
It was.
We went to a gig at Rubik's where Dyslexic, our friend, was playing. I think they knew him when he lived in Queensland. I obviously know him from when he was in Melbourne before that. We just wanted to give him we met there.
Shout outs to Boynton. Ooh, a little bit of surfboard action. I don't know. All these memories flood back to me as soon as I see you, Shawnee, like Eclipse, Bojangles, old school. And you have such a special place in my heart that it's been awesome just to hang out and catch up again and shoot the shit about old times.
totally. I mean, that's why I chose both of you because I've got so many shared festival memories, and lots of ones that you were both at as well. Well, that whole New Zealand tour, which was the last time I was there, which was over a decade ago. Because we played back to back. I think it was 3 festivals in a row, maybe. So Twisted, Ponies, and Discombobulation.
We
were in the same. We were back to back. I think for all
I
those
took
3.
you the following year.
Yeah.
I think we went in 2016.
Something like that, yeah.
And that car caught on fire.
That's right, I remember that.
The car caught on
No,
fire.
that was 2014.
Oh, you there, that
15.
one?
Yeah, when the car exploded. Yeah.
No, it didn't explode. Just the back seat. Someone had a bottle of fuel that they used for something, and the vapor was in the car.
Oh.
But they came
They
over.
used with a lighter to search for something.
No, that was the same one. Yeah.
They were looking for something, and the fumes inside the back of the 4-wheel drive sparked when they lit the lighter to find like a phone charger or something. And we had a rooftop tent on a Corolla, and we jumped out of the car, packed down the rooftop tent. We're ready to drive out of that place like in 3 minutes. That's how I knew we could like survive life together, because we were on the same page at like the middle of the night. Like, right, evacuate, emergency plan. It's a stage manager thing, I think. I don't know.
I love New Zealand, man. It's my favourite place to visit, I reckon.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I need to get back.
Yeah,
like
it is gorgeous.
The last
and the
time
people are so good, they're so friendly.
The last time I went was I made an announcement online that my solo project was becoming a live band, and it didn't even have a name yet, and I already had New Zealand tour booked. They were like, "You're booked, you're on now, what's the name?" I'm like, "I don't even have a name or a website or a logo or anything." But because they'd have booked me solo, they were like, "If you were going to do your solo thing as a live band, drum and bass, whatever, you're coming." And we just got it all together and we went on the tour, and it was the pie eating tour of 2017. They do. I'm Aussie. Kiwis make the best pies. It's on record now.
Yeah. And it's not, I mean, it's not a surprise, really. We're a bigger country, we're more likely to mass produce stuff and...
Gourmet.
Yeah. When you think about it that way, I never thought about it. Yeah. But no, it's a good spot. So we met when? What, like, so 2014?
January, on the way back from New Zealand.
So it's like, 11 years. Yeah, it's been 11 years in January. Yeah.
And yeah, so let's talk about your musical journeys before then with drum and bass and hip hop and scratching and everything in between. So what was can you both give me a little like foundation story of how you came to love the music that you love and make?
For me, like, I mean, like, I was a metalhead, like I'm still a metalhead, but I've always really loved like scratching on metal, so like even bands like Limp Bizkit and Primal 55, I can say like Slipknot, a bunch of those kind of bands. So like I just always loved that instrument on its own, and I wanted to play in a band just as an instrument. I didn't even want to mix records, like so, and so I kind of got into it from, I guess, the live band hip hop sort of side of it rather than drum and bass. And then I found drum and bass when I was 20 years old. And that kind of like I went on this tangent with that really, and like, but then I came back to like, playing multi-genre stuff and like, which are kind of more mashup sets and hip hop sets. So it kind of went full circle a little bit. Yeah.
That's really weird because I started out with a trip hop band with a lot of MCs, 7 MCs to be in fact, that used to perform with Desmond Cheese, and I was like the person who'd do the hook or the chorus to link up all the rappers, It was an amazing journey joining them, but I've done the circle from hip hop into drum and bass as well, which is a funny thing. But I used to sing backups in a jazz, blues, like Dillian James band from Brisbane, and Lady Abundance. I jumped and did vocals with her, and a lot of performers and bands that I got to perform with taught me how to be an artist by supporting other artists. Having a whole... Bands are the most amazing thing because you're all in the moment, you're all performing together. It's different from being like... I love emceeing with the DJ because you're both feeding off each other and...
Yeah, it's a different dynamic when you're a solo artist, definitely. Yeah,
there's a life force behind. That's why I love emceeing. You are working with the DJ. I get on, sometimes I never know what they're going to play. I'm just going, I don't even know the DJ. I'm booked to be the host, and it could be a Lickweed drum and bass night, and that person gets on and they go total deep rollers and heavy, and you never know sometimes, even when you think you don't know. So you've got to be prepared to go with what's happening, and that's why I love being an improvised musician. That's where I come. Hip hop to me is improvisation. It's ciphering in the car park with the horn player. I've done that. Some of my favourite things have been not the gig itself, the after party in the alleyway in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane. All sorts of people rock up. You're doing a cypher. Master Wolf's there. This person's there. This chick comes out of nowhere and sings a chorus, and some guy with a trumpet comes over and starts doing it's like the drum circle thing of hip hop, of vocalists.
Yeah, or even at the gig where you're going to the smoking area and there's more people there. There's like 20 people in a circle. Yeah,
MCs just in a
That's
circle.
the whole I'm an MC and I've had so many people rapping in my ear, and I always encourage it because that's what Desmond Cheese did to me. They told me, come to this gig, get on the stage. I'd never sung into a microphone before. So they started my journey in performing, and I always have tried to pay it forward. So when I had Indigo Rising, like a hip hop thing, we'd always have one song where we're going to open it up. We're just going to shout out to the audience and say, any MCs? And the magic, and it never failed. We never had one single time where it flunked, where it was a train wreck. Not once. Because an MC that will come and grab a mic has got bars. They've got something. You can save it if it goes a bit long or whatever, but that's the paying it forward, giving other people the opportunity to perform. To me, it's the community building.
Yeah, that's what was always important to me as well, especially when we started putting on shows. It was the same thing. Because like Melbourne's such a big city, you know, and heaps of people come from all over the world or all over Australia and like don't really necessarily know people. So like once you, like, you know, having experienced it firsthand, moving in kind of going like, it's not as easy to like meet people when and you know just get your foot in the door sort of thing. So when you've got that opportunity, like Dale's saying, it's just important to pay it forward, you know, as much as you can. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's the same with me and teaching hip hop to kids in the next generation. Now it's like, because I had mentors when I was 13, and that, you know, changed me so much. Like we had a dance festival in Bellingen that just had hip hop culture and scratching and rapping as a part of it, with Morganics teaching stuff and a few other people. Yeah. And so then to be able to, and then him putting me onto Elf Transporter and Combat Wombat, and then being friends with Elf later. And then when I was 18, when I moved to Melbourne 16 years ago, almost exactly, like Wasabi and Towns were running Street Poetics at first floor, which they moved to.
It was from Laundry, moved to first floor.
Yeah. And then Mantra hosting, and Jake Savona on keys, and the the other members of Yulzilla, like Tom on drum, like it was just so crazy.
It was so much fun those times. I remember that.
I was so validating as an 18-year-old who'd like grown up in a country town where people didn't really like hip hop, at least in my social circle, and then going there and being like, oh, you're sick, and you're friends with us now, and just, you know, like
you're one of us.
Yeah, and that really, like, I learnt so much about hip hop culture as a teenager, but that actually taught me what it was in terms of like community. Yeah,
it is all about it. I think like that's the thing that attracted me. Like, cause I'll be the first to admit, like, I'm not a hip hop head. For me, it was like drum and bass was the main focus, but community was the main thing that just dragged me to it, because people were so friendly. I think because it was underground, so like at least most places that I've seen it was underground back in the day, and like. So I think the idea was that if they see you there, you know they know you're there for the music. So so they're very welcoming.
Or you're a friend of a friend of a friend.
Yeah, and they're probably very high as well, but still. But like they're, you know, always like really good people. So that's kind of what attracted me to that.
Heavy metal was like that too. I was into heavy grunge and heavy music, you know, in the 90s, and it's the same vibe. It's the same. They know how you can get your aggression out in a high energy aggression or frustration with the world through that sort of music. Like drum and bass has that avenue, like heavy jungle. Like we've got so many,
well.
you know.
Like people are nicer because there is less ego, because when you've got like, same with metal or hip hop or grunge or drum and bass, you know, when it's got some grit there, people who like that kind of music are more likely, I think, to see through all the ego stuff as well.
Yeah.
And you get it everywhere when people get to a certain level or whatever, but it's, you know, it is less common than maybe like other kinds of music where there's more superficiality embedded into everything.
Yeah.
It's just an avenue to get stuff out. I think that's why I even liked hip hop. You know, like trip hop, it's jazzy, it's soul-y, it also you can drop bars over it, you know. That I went on from Desmond Cheese to start like Indigo Rising with like Lani from Brisbane, who's a talented artist, but to be able to like bring that to another state with a whole bunch of other amazing, like Emerald, Nostage, having just being able to be involved in that live hip-hop stuff taught me so much about, you know, you're doing things on the spot, you're in a different environment, and being able to just open up your throat chakra and say just all the shit that you need to say. There's a lot of other, you know, avenues of music where you don't get to express those sort of journeys as much through, even though I'm not like a Wu-Tang Clan sort of expression. There's so much that you can do through hip hop. You can connect through so many people, and that's been my journey too. The whole circle through to from hip hop to drum and bass. I don't know what that pathway or connection is. It's interesting to me.
Yeah,
From
it is interesting.
raving early in the 90s. Maybe I come back to that because it's the first place I went where I felt fully accepted. When you're there in these warehouse raves under the bridge, they weren't making money then. It was like text message, turn up, climb a fire escape into the top floor of some building in the Fortitude Valley.
Rave as well, and
I walked in and accepted. Doesn't matter your background and stuff. And I think that's what brings me back there.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I loved as well about the raves I went to, was just you could see people from all kind of different scenes. Like it wasn't like this was back in Israel, but I would see like, you know, dudes that you would see like psytrance doofs, and you'd see metalheads and punks and hip hop heads at drum and bass raves, and like it was just free, you know, like in the back of a garage somewhere sort of thing.
Fringe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's nice. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it was very accepting. That's my point. It was very accepting.
So was it like it was still underground, but there was like a community?
There was. I mean, like this was my first introduction to it, so I didn't know as much like about if it was like, you know, a big community, because but I just loved the fact that it was different people and all welcoming. There was no ego anywhere.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't looked like it was phony. It was just like, we're here because we dress how we dress. We're like we love this music and we just come here to dance, and that's it. There's no posing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can see a lot of it in lots of scenes, like definitely in hip hop, and you can even see it like in heavy metal sometimes, but
The persona, they fall into the persona.
Yeah, I never found that in drum and bass.
Well, I guess that's part of like what you're saying. You dress how you want to dress. Like, there's not really like there are bits of clothing that you would associate with jungle and drum and bass, like camo stuff, and you know, maybe like, I don't know,
and there's
North Face stuff or whatever. But it's like,
there's clothes that look goth and metal. There's clothes that look like hip hop as well. You know what I mean? Like,
but then there's ravers with the fluoro.
Like no one's gonna come up to you and say, "Oh, you don't look drum and bass." You know what I mean? Because there's no way of defining that.
Thing.
Not that I'm aware of, at least. But
I don't know. When I first raved in the 90s, I was underage. I went to underground parties. I went to clubs that I somehow got into, like in Fortitude Valley. But I found a crew, and it was all about crews, you know, like Armageddon crew, and they had the first MCs I ever saw were on techno and drum and bass, like in the 90s. That's the first live MCing that MC103, shout out Shawshock. You know, that was before he became Shawshock. He was MC103 and used to jam with Kid Kenobi. And they had a crew, but each person played their own genre. So one person did sort of breaks, one person played happy hardcore, one person played like drum and bass, one person played like gabba techno, and their nights would transition through these genres back then, because it was like more, the scenes weren't big enough to be out on their own. Do you know what I mean? That electronic sound. It wasn't like, oh, there's a whole... Melbourne has a house scene, a techno scene, a drum and bass scene, a punk scene, a jazz scene. It has... I've been here 11 years. I haven't even touched on the surface of all the different scenes Melbourne has. And this is not stuff that gets played on the radio. This is like your grassroots, like... People don't get it. And there's a lot of stuff happening in the industry at the moment, but there's a lot of musicians that just have day jobs and they just make the music they want to make. They're in it because they want to make the music they want to make. I've got a drum and bass band. We make what we want to make. 7-minute songs with the flute solo and trumpets.
Yeah, I was talking to friends about that. Like, I think, but that's a good sort of balance. You know what I mean? Have like not relying totally 100% financially on music. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a balance. That's what I found, because I know a lot of people who are sort of in that mid sort of tier where they're just making money off music, but they don't have like a staff or anything. They gotta do everything themselves. Like, it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of stress, because you're running a business. Essentially, you're running a business. You know, when running any business is stressful. So I think like that kind of lower tier where you have like some other income and then some, you know, income from music is good. a good settle as far as for me and a lot of people that I speak to.
And maintaining integrity and stuff, because I think there's, it gets to a point where if it is your job, there is an extent to which mediocrity sells, as we see with music that becomes very popular. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, well, if mediocrity sells, then I can make mediocrity because it's my business.
And not just that, but it's more than that. Like you also got to understand that it's the entertainment business. It's not just the music business. So there's a lot of other things outside of the music that you have to kind of adhere to and keep pace with.
Yeah, exactly. You have to keep up with trends.
And it's great if you're top tier, because then you probably have a staff that does that for you, and then sweet as. But like if you're mid-level, like a lot of guys and girls, sorry, but like you're gonna get stuck in that. It's a lot of work.
And you choose. I think you choose, like, you can choose the level that you want to be at. I want to play shows. I want to do the gigs I want to do.
Yeah.
And I want to make the music I want to make. I don't want to creative control. I guess that is, because it means that I can make 7-minute Lickweed drum and bass live songs, or chuck some ska vibes in with some horns and be a conductor and have an orchestra that makes some drum and bass thing, because it's for me and my community, and we get supported enough to do our shows and what we want to do. Yeah. And it branches out of that scene into, like, we play at folks festivals, we play all sorts of different stuff. So I'm happy to have a job so I can have that creative outlet the way I want.
And less stress. That's the main thing. I think when anything like that becomes your business, your main income, there's an amount of stress added to it. You know what I mean? Kind of takes away a little bit of it. I know some people that make it work. I know some people that don't. But personally, from a lot of people that I speak to, the balance is better this way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like teaching's been good for me for that, because I haven't actually had a lot of time to make music, but because it's like teaching is so complicated, there's a lot to process. That's where it's like music's so good, because it's so cathartic. And that's the thing, like it's such a personal experience too, because you're using creativity, whatever it is, to process the other stuff that's going on in the world. A lot of
it is a good place to, put your thoughts and emotions, and I've always, really connected to being lyrically creative. That's why I've liked being a singer and MC. It's not about being the most technical vocalist or anything like that. I've done blues, soul, jazz, trip hop. Like, it's about the enjoyment of it, and I've played a bunch of other instruments, but the way that I knew that was for me is when I could sit in front of the computer and listen to every breath of a vocal recording and do a multi-track recording and never get sick of doing the vocal part, but getting really overlooking in a sample bank for a snare, and going, I know what I want, but I just can't find it. But with the vocal, I can just do it how I want and make it happen. And it's part of the process, and I can hand that. I've got a drummer, I've got a bass player, I've got an engineer, I've got all those people. The life force that gets behind that combination is something that is really special. It's a really unique partnership that you have with someone. It's not a marriage. It's not a sexual relationship. A creative relationship with someone is in its own classification, and it makes life really special.
And when you have to work to support that as well, like everyone comes together with different stories and perspectives and stuff, like rather than it just being a job. And that's what I like about it, because you're also putting your shared experiences into one thing and kind of finding the common ground between them, which always just like music's a conversation as well,
I used to I went through this period where I wanted to just play solo for a while, and I kind of came out of that, and now I'm really enjoying again playing with MCs. It is fun, and I think it also kind of takes away a bit of, when there's multiple people on stage, it takes away the focus from you for a bit, so you can more relax a bit, so I can focus on what I have to do and not just stress about everyone looking at me.
And I think with the shared experience as well, like the anticipation is bigger at the start, the feeling of elation when you're sharing that experience of performing with other people, and at the end with a solo performance, it's more quickly oh, that was done. This is a bit anticlimactic. But when you're with a group of people, you're like hanging out afterwards and talking about it, and there's like this whole like decompression afterwards and stuff, which
That's
like
so
adds to the
true.
magic of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even the ritual of it, you know, like when you rehearse, you're putting intent into something. You're putting, you know, I don't want to be late for the people that I'm in a band with. They're like my family. Even touring, like I did a bunch of New Zealand touring and around Australia on my own. But when I went with the band, it was so special.
You guys getting hungry?
Yeah, I can eat.
Starting to think that we can move to the next scene of our interview.
Think we got the sound. Substance you're addicted to. Ooh, think we got the sound. Substance I'm addicted to. Yes, we blessed. You know we must confess what we kinda something pretty in this river city. Nothing's too hard. Connect through the eyes to find the part. Appreciate.
Yeah, so you were just talking about engineer, like audio engineering and stuff. So you've done a bunch of live sound, haven't you? And yeah, tell us about that.
I focused on live sound after being at SAE and studying. I went and volunteered at a festival and found a sound crew in Brisbane, and it did change the course of my life. And I think Shem did more the electronic.
I kind of like you went and volunteered. It was, I want to say, like they call it a festival. It was like this big gig at a venue in Melbourne, and they just needed people. I think most of the stuff we did was like help the bands load in and roll some cables and stuff. But yeah, just met people through there and ended up starting like a gig at that venue for like a monthly gig eventually that went for 4 years, like just from meeting that going to that little festival, volunteering, and yeah, meeting people through running the gig and at SAE.
Was that Libertines?
No, that was before Lips. That was the Loop Bar, and then we started. Then we did monthly at Lips, but that was after Twisted Audio started. Well, me and he met at SAE as well.
Yeah, right. So that was kind of big part of your networking into drum and bass and promotion.
I moved here and like that's the thing I came here to do. I came to study. Like,
I was
on a student visa, so I didn't know anybody. So I met people through there, and just I guess. And I was also working in I worked in some bars, and I basically went. I looked up where all the drum and bass gigs were, and I went and applied for work as a bartender in some of those venues, and I eventually managed to get a gig at a bar gig at the Night Owl, which is now the Sub Club. And I just met people through there because that's where they were doing a lot of the parties, and some of those people I met today are still my best friends.
Nice. So when was this? What?
2007, 8. So maybe 8. We were talking before, but I say the good and bad things about it, but the good thing that I really found was their kind of network connections. You managed to meet a lot of people and kind of get onto the world out of there, get into the events and audio scene sort of thing. And yeah, if you put in the work, obviously, it's still it's a bit of a rough industry as well, but good thing they had.
I loved SAE. It was a great time for my life. I spent a lot of time in the studios, and
it was good.
When I went to Europe and Amsterdam, I rang up SAE over there, and if you go anywhere in the world as an ex-student, you can book the studio time still, even if you've graduated however many years ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It's amazing.
Oh, wow. I didn't
we
know that. Alumni perks.
We did a photo shoot there 3 weeks ago in Melbourne at SAE. We went they gave us the space and the backing walls, and it's pretty amazing, but you can use their audio rooms and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because I basically worked there after I graduated for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years.
A while.
No, at least actually maybe 3 or 4 years. But yeah, we went there the other week to do a photo shoot, and because I got the big green screen sort of room. And yeah, like some of the guys who work there like still heard of me.
There.
Yeah. So yeah, some people still work there, but also some of the guys who didn't like still heard of me. They said that they had cables with my test and tag name on it. And I was like, that's really old. Like I haven't worked there in like 14 years or something.
It's weird because that's when I came to Melbourne and went to my first sound company into the warehouse. I was redoing some of those sub boxes and they had a name on them, and I realised that Twisted Power in Brisbane, who I used to work with, they bought second-hand extra subs and things off the company that I ended up working for in Melbourne.
Is the oven free here?
It is.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
my boss,
it's good.
he's Italian, and I've been working on production for the Melbourne Italian Festa, which has been epic, just as experience. Like, 25,000 people a day come through there. It's like food, wine, music.
Yeah.
It's all on
that'd
top
be
of
amazing.
a car park
Yeah.
at a heritage listed building, and yeah, it's such a good cultural thing, but I'm still learning how to pronounce so many words. You're bilingual, and I know, like, sometimes in the middle of the night, if I come to bed, Shem will talk to me in another language, and I've learnt enough of it to be like, usually he's just asking me what the time is. Like, because I've come to bed at like whatever, I've stayed up making a tune or I've done whatever, and he'll turn over and he'll say it to me in another language, like, oh, it's late, what time is it, but it's in a second language, and I find it interesting when you learn multi-languages, like,
Yeah.
I've learned a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that, but I always think of the English, what I want to say in English first, before I try to say it in another language. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny for me, like going from talking one language and then moving here and then switching to English to the point now where you like think in English and you count in English and stuff. Like
yeah,
That would be
I
weird
find it
having
fascinating.
that being on
separated
that
at the start.
switch,
Yeah, definitely at the start for sure. But like you just become so used to it eventually.
So originally you probably would have thought in your like native language and translated it into English, and then you get to a point where you think in English, but then when you go to talk the other language, you're translating it into the other language.
Yeah, like I forget words in Hebrew because I just don't use it very often. Like only when I talk to my folks here and there, but otherwise I don't use it. So like I'll forget words. Like I can still have a conversation, but I'll forget bits and pieces.
All of a sudden something will fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But fiddle is a very Irish instrument,
Yeah.
and it's like when I first picked it up in the music shop and I just put it to my shoulder, and the way the bridges work, the way it works with my fingers, it felt really comfortable. Like I learned guitar as well.
The
In
corner,
the corner
other one at the corner.
Yep.
In there,
the top.
in the balls there.
Oh yeah. Oh,
There's a
so
few
many
types.
strains.
There's a
Only
metal
one of them is
Oh,
Australian.
there's only one of them.
I know there's a metal and a
There's a
black
metal
one.
and a plastic one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small or large. And I've just been thinking recently that I want to get an acoustic fiddle, just so I can play, I don't know, for my own enjoyment. Because violin is such a sound that can connect to your heartstrings, you know?
Yeah.
Chuck it all in.
Put the meat on top, on bottom, and the thing on top, and then because there's lots of cheese, like the top bit kind of crisps.
I'm a shepherd's pie sort of person, and
a Marion's
I'm a
Kitchen
Marion's
fan.
Kitchen fan club. Like, she should put out some shirts or something because I'd wear them.
Yeah, this has been like, I think that's
Chili, what? Or garlic pasta, I don't know. Like, surely she could have some merch.
Just have a merch that says I'm a thighs and legs girl.
I'm a thighs and legs girl.
Yeah.
just take this.
That's what she is. It's the legs girl.
Oh yeah, baby.
Mixture and the mash, they go together, and that's
Shawnee's
How it
cooking
goes.
show, everyone.
Joe's cooking show.
Our life has gone full circle. I'm so excited about this.
This is exciting.
Living the dream.
And the soy sauce and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Did you forget
You
something?
just saved me. Oh my god.
Oh, I forgot the glazy part.
The umami.
Ah,
There you go.
That's why you call that, because it's like it's called
It's
that
like-
because it's like an exclamation. It's like umami. I nearly made a mistake there.